living, views panoramic, deals close quick, ain't no need for panic. Tony AJ man getting paid all the way. Real estate boss flexing every Friday. Dubai nice, neon lights where he play. Penthouse dreams, that's the only way to stay. Versace robe in the village golden globe.
We're back after some time. Lots of people asked us why you guys are not doing podcast anymore. Unfortunately, the doctor has become so busy. Everyone wants him in the city. I haven't been around for a long time, but now I'm back and we are gonna be resuming our weekly podcast. Doctor, it's great to see you. Happy New Year. 2025 is looking super bright.
It's looking absolutely brilliant. Good to be back with you also. I almost forgot what you look like, so I had to
I'm
go
a bit
to
jealous now. I
Instagram
see
and
you
have
with
to keep
everyone
looking
in
at
the
you.
city. I'm a bit jealous. I used to have you exclusive. Now we lost it.
Maybe you can take the credit for that. You started the ball
Yes,
rolling.
absolutely. Doctor, there is so many topics that we need to talk about, so many misconceptions happening in the market. And when I say in the market, I'm not talking about real estate. I'm talking in general about the city. So first of all, let us discuss a bit about what has been going on for the past months in Dubai and what can we expect in the Q1.
Okay. I don't see any changes happening in Q1 compared to the last quarter of 2024. It's going to continue the same way. Launches will keep happening. We are in great weather at this point in time. So the investors are coming. They will continue to come because they've seen the opportunity. It does exist. Particularly end of last year or early this year when Sheikh Mohammed put 2024 into review, I think that was a very positive boost as well. He spoke, of course, not just about Dubai, he spoke about the UAE. And we had an incredible year. And when you have the ruler actually sitting there and summarizing it, you know it's important information. So I'm not sure how many people even looked at that. So maybe a little bit on that and then we can take it from there. According to Sheikh Mohammed, and all the numbers show it, we've had the best ever year in business in 2024. For the first time ever. Yeah, it was a record. For the first time ever, non-oil trade hit 2.8 trillion. Foreign direct investments touched 130 billion as well. What was really interesting was in the UAE last year, not just Dubai, in the UAE, 200,000 new businesses got registered in just 1 year. Now, of that, around 25,000 were businesses registered by the Emiratis. That means out of every 8 businesses that got registered last year, 7 were by international companies, foreigners or expats, which is a very strong statement of confidence for Dubai. Absolutely. Otherwise, I would rather do something in my home country. So for one from here, and obviously an Emirati would have confidence and build and develop his own economy. But when you're 7 against that 1 coming in, it's a very, very strong indicator. So that was what happened. In fact, if you actually break down the numbers, we only work 22 days a month. So you had 758 new companies being registered every single day. Now, even if you take an average of something like 5 to 6 people in a company, you're talking about 500,000 people coming in the next year just for that, or at least getting jobs from within here. So we can see that there is a very positive effect on the economy and belief that the people have.
Do you think the Golden Visa plays a huge role in this?
Yes and no. See, the Golden Visa was a huge attraction 2 years ago. It still is an attraction, but today we have so many different ways to get the. If you're on a 30,000 dirham salary today, you can get a Golden Visa. It is expanding more and more categories. Content creators now are being given.
But it's not as easy as before. Like there has been some changes. So I recall like before, if you were a director having that salary, you can take the Golden Visa after being interviewed. But then now they have changed it and saying that if you don't have at least a master degree being a director, you will not be able to take that visa.
Yeah, so again, that was one example. Yeah. But there are so many categories under which you can come. Environment, you got the blue visas.
The arts and all of this stuff. But now also one more change about it, which was amazing, especially for people who live in America and Canada. So back in the days, if you were an employee, you can stay up to 179 days outside of the country. Like you have to come before 6 months. Business owner, 1 year. Now, if you have the Golden Visa, you can stay up to 10 years without coming. I mean, no one will do it, but still for the people who are living way far from here, this is way easier for them to... to maintain it, to maintain their bank account, to maintain the transfers, to maintain everything.
So from a business perspective, for documentation, it would help.
Yeah.
Because even I highly doubt that someone is going to take it and not come
Yeah,
for
yeah,
those
yeah,
10
yeah.
years. But what I saw also last year, what was important is we as in the UAE, we signed 140 international agreements, and that was big. You're talking of one international agreement every 2 days in Dubai. These were on economic development, this was on clean energy, on sustainability, AI, technology,
Day before yesterday, they just signed with
defense.
Italy for also for the clean energy and
Absolutely.
stuff.
So there's so much happening. This is why we can see that the future is looking very bright. We again went number one on foreign direct investments, greenfield type of projects last year. So we are very, very strong at this point in time in terms of performance, and we are starting 2025 on a very strong wave. If you look at the transactions last year, we closed at 226,000 transactions. And
I think the value-
760 billion, 760.7
$200 billion.
Yeah,
Like,
for
that's
some
crazy.
time the numbers that kept coming out was 180,900 with 522 billion. But those were only the cash transactions. It wasn't the reflection of the full market. Now we're seeing the more accurate numbers are being shared from the relevant sources that it was a much bigger market. And that many transactions, it was a 36% increase on 2023,
2023, yeah.
which itself was such a smashing year for us. And in terms of value of transactions, 21% above. And there is no sign of slowing down.
At all,
Yeah,
actually.
250 projects in the pipeline for launches this year. 250. Last year, the handovers were only 28,300 units. 170,000 new people came to be precise, 169,000 came in. We were short 6,000 homes just for that new crowd coming in, either to rent or to buy. So we are in a very healthy position in terms of the demand. What is important is to manage the expectations of the people because they're not able to understand what's happening in the market. Why is it when there are so much of handovers, there are so many launches happening? They're not able to fit that model into their head. Maybe later there is a question which I'd like to discuss, which is called engineered cities and organic cities. See, today I was in a company, a developer, and I was training, and I asked the sales team if there was one thing that you would pick on where you would say Dubai is clearly different from the rest of the world. What would that one thing be? And it was a very interesting conversation we had. And it was about Dubai being an engineered city and other cities being organic in how they develop and grow. So that's an interesting topic to talk about because I think it will help people.
I have it aligned. It's already here. Don't worry.
It will help people align with what's happening in the market. So we're in a very, very strong space right now. Sheikh Mohammed, I screenshotted it. Last year, there was a quote he made, which I can tell you straight up. And a few days ago, one more came up from him. Last year, he said in about August of last year or June of last year, he said, the future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. Isn't something that you await, it's something that you create.
Correct.
Now, a few days ago, I saw another quote from him which said this: the future does not wait for hesitant people. The more we achieve, the more we realize how much more we can achieve. So I'm not sure what's going to come after this, but I think the pace is only going to get faster, not slower. So to answer your question, I think this is where we are standing right now. We have a lot to look forward to in 2025.
We always speak about the D33 agenda. But today we want to speak about the education strategy of 2033. Explain it to us, please.
Okay. Firstly, every one of those strategies are not independent. They don't work in isolation. So just maybe to give a bit of a summary, and those who are watching can do some research themselves. We have the D33, which is the Dubai Economic Agenda. But people are not going to be called into the city just for business. So we have the S33, the Dubai Social Agenda. Lifestyle. We have the Quality of Life Strategy 2033. Because we are not looking at just a social life. We want to also be the best in the world in quality of life. And now you have the E33 strategy, which is again, families are being attracted to come here from around the world. And when you want families from the best cities to come here, you will have to offer the best in education, opportunities, and quality as well. So it's not possible to develop your city and expect people to leave with family if you don't have world-class education in Dubai. We already have a lot of international universities here, but the E33 agenda has got certain other objectives. There's 5 strategic objectives and 28 game changer initiatives, so to speak. One of them being that 50% of Emiratis will now be enrolled in schools, and they will play a more stronger part in the future of the economy. Emirati culture is going to be infused into education systems from now onwards. We're moving more from a system to a learner-centric way of education. That is a plan going forward.
And I've seen the Gems or Kings having like $1
The
billion.
new school coming
yeah.
up. The school which is for research and innovation, which is going 200,000 dirhams, putting 367 million in constructing the school.
Wow.
Now, some of the agendas was one of the main targets, which is a very good one, is to achieve a 90% satisfaction rating from parents on the KHDA rating system. So the whole idea is to lift the standards of the education system across the board. 49,000 new seats are going to come into the affordable category schools, because we have both kinds coming into the city. Not everyone coming in is looking for the premium school. We already have schools here where your annual fees is 120,000 per child. So we have premium schools here, and this one is almost double that which is coming. So it's a clear indicator that these kind of schools can see the potential for this type of education in Dubai and the caliber, and they're coming in. We have had the highest number of millionaire migrations in here. But do we have the schools here that can offer the caliber or the quality of education or the style of education that these millionaires are looking for? They wouldn't want to put their kids into an affordable category school. Nothing wrong about that school. It's just that they live a different lifestyle. They want the kids to have that. So now we are adding another 49,000 seats in schools in that category.
Yeah.
So you can see a lot happening on the development side there. 2 other major initiatives is we want to now become one of the top 10 education hubs in the world in terms of cities, one of the top 10 in the world. You have never heard of a city in the Arab world that has competed to be one of the best cities for people to go to for education. But Dubai is getting there now. In terms of education tourism, this is also E33. They want to have a 1,000% increase in the next 9 years in terms of education tourism. So we want to go.
Do you have any idea approximately
tenfold.
like how many we have today?
Into-
Just trying to calculate the 1,000. Like
1,000%.
I mean, like now what do we have? Like almost 60,000, 80,000 students?
Yeah, but this is education tourism. Education tourism, I believe, is going to be a little bit bigger than just students coming into schools. You'll have education conferences, global conferences, young leaders. So you will now have these kind of events happening in Dubai with the expansion of the DEC, the Dubai Exhibition Center. So I think the education tourism is slightly different. Remember, the key word there is tourism. So these are people who will be doing short hops into the city for conventions, projects which are education related. These are not the students who are here every year because parents are living here. That's a different concept. So we're talking of, just like you have ecotourism, you have for hospital tourism, which is health tourism. Now education tourism is going to happen. People traveling for education conferences and next level of education showing. So that's going to happen. That's the tenfold increase that we're talking about here. So that's the E33 agenda, to be able to give the best quality of education. Some of the best universities in the world are now in talks with the government of Dubai. Because part of the 2040 plan, the urban master plan, you have next to Silicon Oasis, that area being developed. You have knowledge and innovation coming there. You already have the DIAC, academic city. You are going to see an explosion in that area, which is the reason why now the DLRC, the Dubai Land Residential Complex, is going into overdrive. You're seeing a lot of developers getting into that area because there will be strong need for accommodation in that
I've
area.
seen also that Dubai is building the largest market, largest
The
car market in the world.
20 million square feet. in that market. It's going to be managed and run by DP World. It's going to be connected to 77 ports around the world. So you're going to bring AI in there. You're going to bring specialist centers for cars, technology, auction areas, resale, top of the line service centers, car gaming events happening, arenas are being set up. Because cars, we know, is a huge thing in the sporting world, and people are very much into cars. So exotic cars. So the next level is showing up, and it's being connected because now shipping of cars and a lot of that will happen from Dubai. DP World will handle that.
Let's speak about the growth happening in the real estate market specifically. So following all of the articles and the reports, it's saying that next year we are or actually 2025, we're expected to see anywhere between 5 to 8% increase on property value and another 12% to 15% on the rental value. Is this correct?
Yes, but if you look at all, see, the reports are quite accurate in terms of predictions that they make, but we've always surprised every report. If you look in the last 4 years, we outperformed any report projection.
I mean, from Bloomberg, we've been outperforming them for the past 10 years.
Yeah, there are quite a few reports that come. In fact, the one I found that was the most accurate was Realist, not really, Realist. But most of the others were very conservative in what they were projecting, and we always exceeded it. If you look at the last 49 months, we've had a consistent increase with an average of 1.23% every single month. So we went to a 60.27% growth rate in just 4 years. 2024, every month was an average of 1.6%. So we did 16.5% last year alone. So in terms of growth, in terms of the pricing, the appreciation, the rental yields, yes, they are on an upward roll. And I believe it's still going to continue for some time because the sheer volume of people coming in, we are not able to give them what they're looking for. That is the reason why today you're finding more and more launches happening because people don't understand the dynamics of how we need to have inventory available in the market.
Doctor, I want to ask you a question that lots of people ask me. I know that the increase in price is okay. End of the day, Dubai is still way undervalued and they still have so much more room to grow. No doubt about it. But regarding the rentals, do you think it's healthy to keep having these landlords pushing year on year to maximize the returns? Do you think it's gonna, if the rentals keep going up, would we reach a point where people will say, okay, this is not affordable anymore, 60 or 70% of my income is going through rent, so what's the point?
Okay. I think my answer to this would be recently you had a new rental index that was announced by the government. So
by building, not by area.
By building, not by area, based on the quality of the building, services, age of the building, etc., which was a good thing. Because what was happening when it was area-based, people with old buildings, very weak facility management were capitalizing on what was genuinely being offered by the others. That can't happen anymore. So just like in previous years when we had landlords going greedy and raising it in an unrealistic way, we had the rental caps that came in. So the government is keeping an eye on what's going on, and in their way, they're trying to be able to bring in some sort of controls. However, there's two things that actually drive this increase in rents. One is the actual quality of the service and the experience that is being offered. The second is the demand. So sometimes demand has the potential to push something beyond what is realistic. And that's not just in rents, that's in anything. When an iPhone is launched, it comes out at a ridiculous price.
Dean,
right?
I think you agree with me when we speak about demand, how they can shift markets. It's when we had this influx of Russians and everyone was just throwing a number and it was being accepted. And this is where it made it shoot this 30 or 40% extra.
I think what will happen is there will be a good, healthy correction in some places. However, if people are expecting rents to go down, I honestly think it's going to go up a bit more. Again, we need to be careful.
I mean, we need it to stay stable. No need to go up or down, just the way it is.
That's not going to happen. In a mature economy with marginal growth, the stability in the rents is more. In an emerging economy, which is evolving, where you're doubling, 70% population is coming in, 400 new cities are being put into your trade map, 3 new business corridors are opened, you're doubling foreign direct investments. It's not possible in an economy that is emerging and growing that something like rents are going to stay low. It is going to proportionately go up as well. And at some point, probably some correction will happen, but I don't see that happening in
At
the
least
next
in
few
the
years.
commercial departments, just for the offices to drop a bit because it's becoming crazy nowadays.
When you have 200,000 new trade licenses that were issued last year, business sense, Anthony.
We
you
have
drop
major
it?
shortage in the commercial.
Exactly.
We don't have
Why-
warehouses. We don't have enough offices. We don't have enough anything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, developers nowadays should be really focusing on building commercial stuff because Dubai has a mega shortage.
Yes, Dubai has a mega shortage. Now, again, here's a bit of balancing. We need commercial space, we need homes. Now, even if commercial space is not available, we can create online work patterns, work from home. We can create alternative solutions. A lot of retail has moved online, but we can't have people sleeping online. And neither can they be on our streets. So the pressing need of the hour, while every industry will say we need more, the pressing need for the city to maintain its status. We don't want to become like the cities of the West where people are on the streets. So we have a serious shortage in that area, which is the reason why a lot of focus is still in that particular area. I get it, eventually commercial will come up. 168 square kilometers of land for economic development and industrial development has
Jabal
been
Ali?
set up in Dubai South. So that's a lot. That's 22% the size of Singapore as a country. So
I
there is
think
a,
the Chinese have big hand in this.
possible. Yiwu market is not part of that. That
Yeah.
is separate. But the Chinese have a hand in everything everywhere, right? It's not necessary. It's a bad thing. It's how they are permitted to come in. They are
No,
opportunists.
I'm
They see
saying
the
like
market.
out of this 168,000, they took a big land to be manufacturing here in the UAE.
Yes, because part of our plan was to open economic corridors where we open to Southeast Asia. When you open it to Southeast Asia, the biggest player in that market is going to capitalize on it. In addition to just being Southeast Asia getting a hold in the Middle East, remember we are partners now in BRICS also. The UAE is a member of BRICS, and so China being a member of that, we can see a lot of economic growth coming here into this part of the world. So, and we want to have manufacturing because that was one area where we did not pay a lot of
Correct.
attention. And I believe it's just opportunity. India could have picked it up if they want. There are other countries that can come into the game. The Chinese showed up first, and so they will have the early mover advantage. So I don't see that as really being a concern. However, yes, to answer your question, many businesses now are opting for slightly different models. They may not necessarily need so much of office space, like neo banks, neo businesses are being set up right now. But I need a place to live.
Also, we've seen like the government maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, like emphasizing on the importance of doing shifts of employees between working from home and going to office, just to try to ease up on the traffic a bit. Because end of the day, I know they have plans, they are building bridges, they are building new roads, but these roads will not happen in a day or a week or a month. It's gonna take 1 or 2 years to happen. So yeah, I've seen them emphasizing on it. Doctor, let's jump to another topic. Dubai Green Spine.
Okay. Very bold initiative. We are building the greenest highway in the world. It's a company called URB that is behind this brainchild. They are the ones behind the Dubai Hyperloop, the Dubai Mangrove Project, the 100 million mangrove trees. They're also behind the Dubai Reef Project, 634 square kilometers of coral reef. So they're coming up with a lot of these projects which are very eco-friendly as well. So E311 is the Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Road is now 64 kilometers is going to be converted into the green spine. It has got multiple targets or objectives in there. The first thing is we want to create an eco-friendly lifestyle opportunity. It's going to be non-motorized to the maximum. It's going to have jogging tracks, cycling tracks. It's going to be controlled where it's all solar powered. 340 megawatts of power is going to be used to run it. They are going to prevent any flooding of any kind. So they're going for porous surfaces for water to be drained out. They're looking for vertical gardens and farms coming inside that where you could actually grow vegetables in the future going in. They're going to look at farms where you could even sell many of these vegetables. So education concepts, cultural concepts, retail concepts are all going to come into this place. We're looking at reducing the carbon footprint, reducing the heat energy that's coming out, temperatures, looking at more clean energy for people, or clean air for people to be able to live in that area. I think it's going to be a huge environment impact on that. It also goes to reducing our carbon footprint. We must not forget that this as a project is being done in the desert on sand. That's what makes it even more amazing out there. Because it's easy to do something like this in an environment that is conducive for this kind of growth.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
To do it in an open desert.
And, and part of our urban master plan 2040 is that 60% of the city is going to go into marine and natural areas, natural lifestyles. So this is all part of that going forward. We want to try and reduce the temperature in the desert. That is another reason why, if you look at most of the, in fact, not most, all of the new master developments, they're all blue-green communities. They have been mandated that they need to have a certain percentage of the green. So we're spreading it right across the city now. So we have a lot more green so we can control the temperatures. But the green spine was a very unique initiative. So we're all waiting. We're excited. 1 million trees in just that. On 64 square kilometers, you're going to have the 1 million trees
in
come
between
up.
between the mangroves that they're going to be doing as well.
That's
between
100 million trees.
Yeah, between the new corals inside of the sea, which will help the sea life. Between all of this happening, I am sure that Dubai or UAE in general will be witnessing a different weather. Now, absolutely, in the summer when it hits 40, we cannot say this will reduce it. It's going to happen regardless. But I mean, like, it should give us at least 4 to 5 months a year where we have like a nice weather.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If not, we are creating more and more of these areas where you could actually have that kind of weather.
Yeah.
These were never there in Dubai before. So I think there's just so much more opportunity that we today have reached a level where we can control our environments rather than let the environment control us. Another interesting feature on the green spine is IoT is going to manage the infrastructure, internet operated technology. So you're going to be actually operating everything based on the internet using AI. So AI is going to regulate everything. Based on the number of people that are walking in there, based on heat emission from the bodies, they will cool air conditioning. Certain pockets where there's higher traffic, air conditioning will be different. So there's a lot of that kind coming in. Footfall, diversion of traffic. We are going to have real-time traffic management in there. So there's a lot being done, which is going to be driven and monitored by AI. So I think there's something really exciting to look forward to. I met someone recently who was talking about these new cognitive cities coming up. And Dubai is very heavy into cognitive cities. The government is keen on being part of it. It may sound scary to few people, but it is the way forward. So Anthony wants to leave home and he's deciding to go out. You will have on your app AI talking to you, which you customize for your personality, saying, by the way, what would you like to have for dinner today? I've noticed your pattern being every Thursday you tend to have a seafood dinner at home. I just need to tell you that we don't have any shellfish in the refrigerator. You're also short on onions and tomatoes. I've already ordered it from the local supermarket, 2 kilos of each, and paid for it using your credit card.
Wow.
So they're actually looking at your lifestyles, or you come back and say, hey, I've noticed today that your temperature is a degree above normal and your heart pace is, would you like me to get an ambulance to come in or advise an online consultation with the doctor?
Wow.
All of that is coming in. In addition, someone living within the community wants to come and visit you, but you have already booked for a dinner somewhere. Cognitive intelligence is going to tell them, Dr. Anand, for the next 4 hours, Anthony is not available. He's taking his lovely wife out for a dinner. So if you are planning to visit them, you would need to come after this time or reschedule another day. Would you like me to book something for you in Anthony's diary?
That's
Yes,
crazy.
That's where we're headed now.
Like, what's the point to have a PA once you have all of this?
Or what's the point in having a brain anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is going to be done for you.
Doctor, let's go out of Dubai a bit and let's go to Abu Dhabi. We've been seeing a lot of increase in sales a lot of increase in demand and a lot of increase in new launches, especially when it comes to the beachfront properties.
Absolutely.
Why is that? Why did it happen like now that a lot of people now they're eyeing Abu Dhabi?
Okay, if you look at the Knight Frank report, Destination Dubai 2024, last year, this year's report is not yet out. Abu Dhabi always did have a demand, but it was for a very different type of person. The GCC nationals showed a lot of interest in Abu Dhabi because one, there were very limited areas that were freehold. Therefore, a lot of foreign nationals were funneled only into certain areas. They couldn't just buy anywhere in Abu Dhabi, which is still there in some areas. The leasehold option was keeping a few people out. Secondly, while Abu Dhabi had the power, the money, the vision wasn't as attractive to people outside this region. Abu Dhabi hadn't for many years positioned itself as a city where we wanted the Australian to come in, or we wanted the American or the Japanese to come in. Dubai was opening up to the world, and I think Abu Dhabi realized that this is they had to go down this road, and eventually they did, which is very good. So now you're seeing culture, you're seeing some of the biggest concerts in the world, you're seeing the best names are coming in, sporting events are on a global level, you're seeing business environment, tourism, culture, retail, everything is getting developed right now. We are also seeing that more and more people are post-pandemic, especially in Abu Dhabi, looking to upgrade to bigger homes. The islands are all doing extremely well in Abu Dhabi. We are also seeing, in addition to that, what I have been seeing happening is Abu Dhabi is climbing the rankings on many global reports.
Correct.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to crypto now, it's becoming like having their exchange, the M2 as a crypto, it's becoming number one. When it comes to raising capital, also Abu Dhabi is becoming hedge funds. All of the major headquarters are moving there from all over the place, from America, from Europe. We've seen now that BlackRock.
BlackRock was in Abu Dhabi just recently.
There is crazy names coming in here, which is wow.
Yeah. So that is happening. In addition to that, now Abu Dhabi is the safest city in the world for 8 years in a row.
It's been like that
since
I was born, I think.
That's the Numbeo report on crime statistics. 8 years in a row is very, very strong for them to hold, particularly with competition like Dubai, Saudi Arabia coming up with a new vision. And the Abu Dhabi vision for 2030 has contributed a lot to this. The Economist has a report which came out last year again, where in the region, the number one city for livability now is Abu Dhabi in the Middle East. So Abu Dhabi is getting their game on track. They're doing a lot of things right. And that's good for us also, because we develop off each other. So when you have 2 or 3, Ras Al Khaimah is going to be a big thing.
That was my next question. It's like, how about Ras Al Khaimah?
Yeah. Ras Al Khaimah is also, last 4 years has been excellent for Ras Al Khaimah, right? Ever since let's face it, the waterfront lifestyle was always there in Ras Al Khaimah, but it didn't have anything to pull people yet.
Correct.
Because how much would I do at a waterfront lifestyle when I can get the same waterfront lifestyle in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi? Something else needed to come in to catalyze that. That became the casinos, and Majan Island then came into the limelight. And so eventually the big players started to go in. International hotel brands, Emaars have all started to go in there. Shobha's coming up close by now. So we've seen huge increases between 60 to 75% in certain projects or certain hotel projects based on location and close to win. So we know that there's been a huge development. Real estate is benefiting from it. Tourism is benefiting. Hospitality, RAKs, retail is going to be a huge thing going forward. Holiday homes are benefiting from it. Now RAK Central has entered the game.
Correct.
So that's the next DIFC coming up in that area. So you now actually can see a financial and a business and a licensing zone being developed for the next level. It's
already moving a lot because I think the price is almost 30% cheaper than Dubai. So lots of companies are opening and RAK is now, and they're finding it easier than opening it in Dubai.
Yeah. So, on the whole, if you look at it, I can see that there's a lot of development happening in the UAE. So there will always be some feeding off each other going forward. So,
Doctor, logically, let's say when the casino is open and everything is there, logically, what should be the price per square foot in the area?
In Ras Al Khaimah?
In Ras Al Khaimah.
If it is waterfront,
yes,
you could go to 5,000 or 6,000 square foot.
Do you think 10,000 is achievable?
Yes, depends on who comes in there.
very big brand.
Possible.
It's achievable.
Absolutely.
10,000.
Absolutely. But again, that not right now. It will take a little while.
Talking 28, 29.
Yeah. Because once the casino is up and running, once all the hotels and start opening up,
Yeah.
you will be able to draw in the really big names. You need the big names to come if you want to go for 10,000 square foot.
Like for example, when I'm sitting with investors, for them Dubai is so easy because the data is there, everything is there, and they'll say, okay, let's say this is for 3,000, 4,000, it has a room to grow to 6, 7, done. For Ras Al Khaimah, no one can predict. So some people tell me, Anthony, do you think now the prices are inflated that being launched? I'm like, comparing to what? There's nothing to compare to.
Exactly.
It's just like a one island coming and bringing all of this attraction. And I'm sure like now once the big players are in town, maybe 10,000 dirhams will not be enough for you to buy a property in Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah. We'll still have to wait and see how that actually happens, but I can see it easily happening. Because you see, the relationship that I see, what's going to happen between Dubai and RAK is like Hong Kong and Macau. See, there are many people who haven't yet visited Dubai also, for example. But now since RAK is looking interesting, there are a lot more people who would have not come before who could come. For example, there are a lot of Chinese, there are a lot of the Southeast Asian country people who have never visited Dubai yet. But with the casino concept, because they love their gambling, many of them would come. And since they're coming, let's also do Dubai. So Dubai is where they would look for lifestyle, and they take a 45-minute hop into RAK to do the gambling, stay there for a couple, just like what people do between Hong Kong and Macau. Macau has just got the casinos and hotels, nothing else, and a broken church. There's nothing else in Macau.
Over there,
It just
they're
goes
doing
over.
like malls, and inside of the malls, there will be like major brands, like all of the major brands in the world are gonna be there. So I think it's gonna be men gambling, women shopping. It's gonna be a win-win for everyone.
Yes, and again, global brands, if they're coming in, they have already done their due diligence. They have looked at worst case scenarios. They've looked at cultural resistances and barriers to things like gambling, etc. And with all of that, they're putting a tick onto RAK and they're coming in there. So we are clearly in a place where we're going to be seeing a lot happening in RAK. And I think it's going to benefit everybody because I don't think casinos will be restricted to RAK. Abu Dhabi is going to get into the game. Dubai will get into the game. We just don't know when. It does not make any logical sense to have a city like Dubai that is going to number one on the planet with all its glitz and glamour to not have a casino. It's just that when you want to introduce something, Dubai has a brand pull by itself right now on 10,000 other things. We don't need a casino to pull people into Dubai.
Correct.
So RAK is now capitalizing on that, and it's good. So there is some growth that will happen. But eventually RAK will also rely not just on a casino. They got so many other things coming into the game. When they're at that stage, I believe that you will see casinos coming up in the other cities as well.
Doctor, what's our population today?
3.825 million.
Amazing. What was our population in COVID? 3.4.
Yeah.
Or a bit less, even
anything.
3.3 something.
Yeah, hardly anything.
So within 5 years, less than 5 years, 4 years and few months, we have
We had
obtained
400,000.
500,000.
Yeah, we had a 430,000.
So that's the confirmation that each year we are having over 120,000 coming. And this is why we need homes. Because lots of people also tell me, we hear you speaking about this, but how can you confirm to us 100,000 people are coming? Out of the 100,000 people coming, how can you confirm to us that 50% are not even laborers? So
Okay.
I'm just addressing this for the doubters, for them to understand that numbers speak.
Okay. Yeah, we can easily use some numbers here. Listen, before that, I want to say something. I want to say it on record. You can have bulls and you can have bears in a market. We are bullish as a market. The real investors who understand the vision of Dubai are bullish. There are the bears. They're slow. They can stay where they are. We don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, but I mean the bears on what? Like you have been seeing crazy and steady increase for the past 5 years.
Yeah, but then you see, people come. In fact, that's one topic I wanted to talk about. You have to understand if they are not Dubai-based people, they don't understand the model of Dubai. In their mind, real estate is where they come from. I call it a frame of reference. All humans on the planet, to understand anything, need to have a frame of reference. Now, a frame of reference is usually something you know or something you have experienced. So it usually becomes a thing of the past. And a frame of reference tends to be more local or regional. So if I'm coming in out of London, if I'm coming in out of Sydney, Mumbai, my frame of reference is how real estate is operating in those particular markets. I understand real estate from that perspective. Now, first challenge with that is most of those cities do not even have off-plan markets. Many of them are 90 to 95% ready home markets where it's home buyers who are buying on mortgages. So when my concept and understanding of reality has been a ready home, I don't get a market where people are launching and people are putting money on sand. I don't have a frame of reference to understand that. That's first. When you're a mortgage-driven market, I can't understand why people are putting 522 billion dirhams of cash on the table on sand. So my frame of reference does not allow me to connect with it, one. Secondly, my understanding, the frame is unconscious. It's just something I do all the time. So many times when people sit in front of us and ask these questions, they're asking it from an unconscious place of resistance because something in me is not comfortable with what is going on. In fact, I'll tell you what will happen. If today, overnight, I had a magic wand and we could make a switch, all developers stop launching. Handovers continue, people will become comfortable. They'll say, now this makes sense. There were crazy launches for the last 3 to 4 years. Now we understand these are handing over. Market is making perfect sense. So that's when we become like the historical property cycle. That they are okay with. They're comfortable with that. What they're not looking, because what they're saying is, instead of having an oversupply, once these units are absorbed, if developers are going to start launching, we understand it makes sense. But that is not the Dubai model. We are expecting 2.5 million people to come in the next 9 years. That's 270,000 people now every single year. So let's look at what happens now. We have 306,000 units currently under construction at different stages. 71% of them are less than 20% complete. 14% are less than between 21 and 40%. So around 85% of these 306,000 units are less than 40% complete. They're not even going to enter the market for the next 2 to 3 years. So what's going to happen? But during that time, 250,000 people are expected to come every year. So if I have a market where we are not launching now and we are only handing over, within the next 3 to 4 years, these will be absorbed. By then 1 million people are going to come. So if you expect us to only launch in 28 and beyond, those will be ready in 32 and 33.
Correct.
What about the 1.5 million people coming in those years? Will they sleep on the streets? So the launches of today, all the aggressive launches, is not for you to buy to live in today. This is for us to take care of 1.5 million people coming from 28 to 33. These will be only ready then. All that launched in the last 3 years is coming out now to take care of the current requirement. So people need to understand, because our economic agendas are so aggressive and people are coming in, we are preparing for the future. So it's a parallel industry now. So the moment you separate real estate from the economic agendas of Dubai, it will not make sense. So that's why they're using historical frames. They're coming from countries where the economies are flatlined or with marginal growth. So they don't get it. We have now announced a 4.5% expected GDP for this year and 5.6% next year. The central bank, UAE Central Bank.
The strongest.
3.2% is the world average. We are almost double the world average for next year. So when you have that kind, how do you double your economies and not grow your infrastructure? Another word for real estate is infrastructure.
Of course, and
Yeah.
any city or any country that doesn't have proper infrastructure, they will never have proper real estate market. It's so
100%.
tied together, it's unreal.
Yeah, you cannot build your businesses and your cities without that. Let's actually talk about now the infrastructure itself. Last year, Sheikh Mohammed announced the biggest ever budget for the next 3 years. From 25 to 27, that's 272 billion dirhams. If you go back to 2008, when we had the recession, the debt, the Dubai's national debt was 72 billion. More than almost 4 times that money, he's now pumping as a budget into building infrastructure for the next 3 years. This year alone, 86.27 billion is being invested as a budget for developing the city. 46% of that is into infrastructure. So you're talking close to around 40 billion is coming in this year just in infrastructure. 30% is going into the social agendas and the lifestyle and quality of life that is going to be developed. 6% is going into innovation, AI, and government transparency. 18% is being put into safety, security, and emergency responses. We have a 70% increase in population coming from all around the world in the next 9 years. We are expecting all types of people to come in. We are becoming future ready. We don't want these people to come and then have emergency responses and safety and security. You build it now. That's 18% of 86 billion. You're talking something close to about 15 billion is being put this year into safety, security, and future readiness. So we can see a lot of investments in the infrastructure because we know the people are coming. You're putting an airport for 260 million passengers.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the 5 phases, and I swear it's unreal. It's like you're going. I don't know. I saw the YouTube video how they're explaining that they want to do it. It's actually wow.
Yeah, so it defies understanding. But just because it defies understanding of people doesn't make it wrong. We have always defied understanding from the year 2000, and every time we had a plan and we went out, Dr. Mahmoud Al-Burai was talking about it the other day at the Game Changers event, and he said it. He said every plan, if you look at the history of Dubai, we have completed it and ahead of schedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have done that. So if we are creating aggressive plans and if your cities are not creating it, that doesn't mean we are going to be wrong. Now, either you can join us and be part of this journey, or you can watch from the sidelines.
Or stay quiet.
As simple as that. I'll give you another example. Sheikh Mohammed announced a 3.7 billion, the internal roads plan. We know that the population is coming. 12 communities which are going to go through a 30% to an 80% increase in urbanization. So 21 projects on roads are being now launched from this year, from 2025 to 2029, 634 kilometers of internal roads. 634 kilometers of internal roads are coming into our city. On the main roads plan and the highways plan, 16 billion has been put in. From 2024 to 27, anyone who's been in Dubai cannot argue the fact that a lot of flyovers have been added in, are under construction, and many have opened in the last 1 year. That's 16 billion. We are creating now a road system to manage 6 million people. We don't have them yet. They're coming.
But once they come, it's going to be nuts.
So we are creating that. If you look at new vehicle registrations, last year alone, there was a 10% increase in new vehicle registrations compared to 2023. The world average is 2% for the cities. We are going 4 times or 5 times that. For every 1 vehicle registered in a good populated city, 5 are being registered in Dubai. The people are coming because I don't believe all of those are being driven by tourists from rent-a-car companies.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. So all the indicators are on the ground. The numbers are saying it. So if people are still skeptical, they can keep their money and stay where they are. Or they can come in later and they can pay twice the amount. The people who understand the dynamic
Twice is an understatement.
Yeah, probably more.
Doctor, thank you. It has been an amazing episode. Thank you all for watching it, and see you in the next one.